Another week racing bikes, and we have the support team. We've got the head commentator, the team manager, and this week we're actually going to be on a different course that isn't a pan flat circle. I don't actually know what the course is like. Dad knows. We're at Thruxton Motor Circuit this week, so we might actually have to do some corners this week for the first time, rather than just burying yourself in a circle. But Dad's been telling me all week that it's these two that make this channel, the commentator and the team manager. Apparently I must be the good looks. But Dad, top tips for tonight?
Well, yeah, stay out of the wind is the number one thing, and you should stand a better chance here. And try not to embarrass us by rolling in at the back. Rolling at the front of the group is the idea. So that would be nice to see that one. But yeah, I mean, above all, fun and safe.
Yeah, it does look hella windy out there though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and
it does actually.
I don't know,
yeah.
There's a couple of like chicanes in this course. We're not allowed a practice lap, I don't think. So it's just going to be head down, bury it. So we're going to get signed on in a minute, and then I'll pass you over to the commentator, Mr. D-Man himself. Out on a little course inspection, and there's definitely going to be more corners today. That is like, what is that, like a S-bend into the start finish straight. Trying to suss out the course a bit. Is that the uphill bit you're on about? Yeah, so down there is like a little bit, it's not really a climb, it's more of a drag, isn't it? Yeah. It's like drag, but it's essentially a motor circuit.
Here we go then. We can just about see Giorgio about to come onto the Thruxton circuit for the first time. It's the Thruxton World Championship. He's a little bit hesitant, a bit nervous about coming on here. And right, there's always two that ride the wrong way. And first time crash, he's missed that one. So there he is, first time, second, third cat race. Let's hope he can get around that corner. He does. The reason I say that, I've seen some deep section rims struggle round there. The wind is blowing an absolute hooner across the course, and there's a couple of guys almost had to pick their bikes up off of the tarmac already there. So he's going round to the start, and here we have the Rocket going past like a rocket. There she is. So she's here with us today, going to give some commentary, and we're just going to go across and get a position. Much bigger field here tonight. There is a little bit of an incline over the other side of the track. Should be good for Giorgio, but we'll have to wait and see. And I think one of the big problems, these deep section rims, and these guys, you know, they only weigh like 65, 67 kilos, and the wind hits them, and it's just like, I am a little bit worried about that. I mean, I can't believe the way a couple of these, you know, 60, 65 millimeter section carbon rims caught the wind, and it was quite noticeable. And a couple of guys both had to pick the bike up from the tarmac. There's another Murden rider here, so we've got some money on him tonight, hoping that he's going to do a good job as his mate did the other night. GS Mosser there, late. Hey, you tell Mr. Rastel that that's one thing I had to say. Giorgio was laughing at my last minute. I was calling Ollie Rascal, and it's just because Ollie comes across as a bit of a rascal for me, so I thought his name was Rascal, but it's Rastel. So sorry about that, Ollie. But do forgive me, but it was highly amusing to everybody else.
So editing George here, and due to the absolute brutal winds at Thruxton, some of Dad's commentary unfortunately you can't hear because there is such wind noise. So what I'm going to do, have a little bit of Dad's commentary because I know everyone loves that, and I'm going to jump in between. So best of both worlds, you get the Big D and myself commentating on tonight's race.
So here we go then, the fourths have just got underway, and there's a pacing car there that's just turned up just to keep the gap and to pace the riders. I don't think that you're allowed to jump on the back, not like the good old days. So I think that you know, if you're in thirds and you're racing your own separate race,
So as Dad said, neutralised first half lap, then it was bang, full gas. And you can see, I've tried zooming in best I can, but that section all the way up this climb was a seriously brutal headwind. And everyone was like echeloned out, no one wanted to be on the front. It was absolutely disgusting. I mean, as soon as you got to the top as well, there's some real strong boys tonight. This was a jump up for me. This is the hardest race I've done yet. I can see I'm in 1, 2, 3, 5th place, and I think, to be honest, I need to be sitting further back in the bunch and just conserve my energy more, because the lads string it out and they've got some serious power which I don't have. And when you're 5th, you're still working pretty hard in comparison to if you're in the back of the bunch just getting a free ride. It's a lot easier. That wind was savage though. But you can see us coming up here, and because of the wind, everyone's trying to stay like tight to the right hand side. But every time over this section, someone absolutely whacked it, and you can see I'm second wheel there. I'm just as soon as someone whacks it, I'm always trying to cover the attack, and it's not really my place. I don't have the power to do it, but I just get excited. But then someone went off the front. He got a fairly sizable gap, but when these boys are whacking it off the front, you notice it, and you can see I'm like sitting in third there in the bunch, and then they pull over, then I'm on the front again trying to close down gaps, and I just need to improve my racecraft massively rather than trying to shut every single gap down. But that got brought back, and it was then everyone back together.
More riders coming through now, just trying to find out where Giorgio is and find out whether he's in the thick of it or not, or whether we have to wait for nightfall out of shame before we can leave the circuit if he's fallen off the back.
But there's another attack there, 2 boys going off the front, and it was relentless attacks. As soon as we got out that headwind section, you can see again, I'm second wheel, matey pulls off in a minute, then I end up on the front and I'm trying to close gaps, but I'll need to learn how to sit further back in the bunch.
So this is quite a big group here that's all come back together, so I'm not quite sure who's in this little lot here.
Come on, what a wheel, good luck, come on!
There's Giorgio sitting in about mid-pack there. So they've pulled over to the left hand side, they're letting the other riders go through, so I guess that they probably first cats off the back that are going to go through and try and...
Yeah, so as Dad was just saying there, we had to pull, this is my favourite bit of the race, we're about halfway through, half an hour in, and we had to pull over to let the E12s pass, and it's the only time no one was attacking, and it was just like a chill group ride. But as soon as they went past, again, whack, boys are whacking it, but still I'm sitting way too far up near the front, and when people start to pull over, you then feel like you've got to give it the berries on the front, and it's not the racecraft. But you can see how strung out it gets along this section. Every lap it got strung out, and down this side it was like tailwind, and it was full whack. Everyone just giving it the berries.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether these guys are off the back. No, I'm losing the plot. There's so many groups. I think there's even a group for me if I was racing out at the minute. Yeah, I've lost the plot a little bit on what group's what.
Dad was filming anything, but you can see this guy off the front here, he put in a real big effort, seriously strong rider, so he was dangling off the front for about 3 laps. Mad respect for going off the front in that headwind on your own. But I'm gonna play this bit. You can see, apart from the Rocket's ropey camera job where she's swinging the camera about, we're coming into the last lap, and you can see how much of a gap he had. But once we went through this bell lap, it was whack. Everyone started whacking it. So the same footage just here of a slightly different angle of us coming into the bell lap. You can see I'm sitting third wheel over on the left, and I'll pause it in a second. So we're coming through into the bell lap. Everyone knows they've got to catch that guy. Just as we go through, a couple of boys absolutely whack it over to the right, and you can see me, I've just left a little bit of a gap. I've paused it here, I haven't got on the wheel straight away, And this was terrible news for me, because rather than me just trying to hide behind someone and get a toe back onto that, I stupidly tried to close that gap, and I spent half a lap absolutely shelling myself to try and close that gap down. And I got round all the way. I just didn't have the power to close it, but I was going way above anything I was capable of. I got round to the headwind section, and everyone started coming past me, close the gap. I was looking over my shoulder. I was just thinking to myself, jump on a wheel, jump on a wheel, jump on a wheel. And I just couldn't do it. I absolutely blew my biscuit, and that was absolutely game over for me. So the last little bit, rolling in for the sprint, the boys at the front obviously all sprinting for the top places, but I blew up. I couldn't get on the wheel, and I've rolled in. I was probably about 40 seconds down in the end. I just had to roll over the line. But that was lessons learnt for me. Like, you just do not have the power on them flat sections, especially when you're in the wind and everyone's getting a free ride. I shouldn't have been closing that gap down, or I should have saw it coming and jumped on it straight away and got in the wheel. But because I didn't, I left myself exposed in the headwind, trying to shut it down, and you just can't do that. But this for me is all a massive learning curve, because I want to get to a position where I can go to any race and feel like I can hold my own. So a lot of it for me at the moment is learning racecraft and just being in the right place, maybe not covering every attack I see or feeling like I have to be up in the front of the group. Sometimes you're better off being towards the back and getting a bit of an easier ride. I can't be too disappointed. First time round there, obviously, when I didn't get on the wheel, and then I basically dragged everyone round for half a lap, and then I just didn't have it. The legs went pop, and that was game over on the headwind section. But it is what it is. I can't change that, but I'm gonna go back and try and give it another whack on Monday. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.